Today we thought we would go over some of the YouTube personalities that helped inspire me, that kind of lit that fire and passion. They are primarily influencers. It's not that these people don't breed. In fact, many do breed. It's just that they're a little bit less focused on just breeding and they're more on the entire influential side of everything. Once again, in no particular order, we are going to start with probably one of the most well-traveled people on the planet in the reptile community, and that would be Dave Kaufman. Whether it's tours of breeding facilities of certain breeders and what they are creating and what they're working with, whether it's his incredibly awesome and patented unique take of expos. His videos are so much fun and you get to see so much cool stuff, and it's not just Tinley like what we do. He is able to go everywhere, including Europe, and you're able to just get a glimpse of how things are outside of our experience. And of course, probably what his most entertaining content is when he goes to other nations, other countries, other parts of the world where life is so different, and shows you these animals in their native habitat. In fact, if you're here for ball pythons, he did a literal movie that you can watch for free on YouTube right now, and it is very incredible. There's just a whole bunch of content that he's able to bring to us. Honestly, that would be a dream, to be able to kind of just travel the world and do what he does, to see these animals in these types of habitats and just talk about them and show them to people. And to my knowledge, he does it all. I don't think he gets any help with editing even. He goes, he has his camera. If you see him at any expo, he's doing it all. He's talking, he is traveling, he is going. I don't know how the heck he is so go, 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 go. But if you want inspiration, if you want exciting content that goes beyond just kind of showing you animals and stuff like that, it does it with a very entertaining flair, definitely check out Dave Kaufman if you have not already done so. Next up, who I don't believe needs any introduction at all, would be SnakeDiscovery. I truly believe and think that SnakeDiscovery is the holder of the baton for the reptile community in terms of an influencer right now. And I think it's really incredible the sorts of things that Emily and Ed have done. I saw Tom Harbin, I think it was on their channel actually, say how much great that they're doing bringing people into this community. With Emily's presentation and how she goes about talking and showing animals, she's just an absolutely natural presenter and teacher. And she has brought in an incredibly new and diverse group of people to breathe life into the entire reptile community. They're incredibly humble as well. And as for their content, it goes from anywhere from, of course, showing you off animals, to talking about events, to showing off shows, and they actually ended up building their own shop and zoo. On top of that, there's so much knowledge to be had, so much entertainment on the channel, and so many different species of animals. Mostly, of course, reptile or amphibian or insect and such like that, but there's so much love for animals. Such an incredible way of presenting things. I would argue that partially, at least, an incredible reason why hognoses are surging in popularity is because of SnakeDiscovery. Definitely an incredible source for inspiration and entertainment, all wrapped up in one. Moving on, we are going to talk about someone that needs no introduction at all, and that would be BrianBarczyk. Most people know, of course, that BrianBarczyk sadly passed away almost exactly a year ago at this point. But Brian not only leaves a legacy, but a team that is still surging forward and literally in legacy. He was in the process of creating a bigger, more bolder version of the Reptarium, which I've been to. The Reptarium is an incredibly awesome place where people go to foster a love for animals. Brian began as a breeder, one of the OGs actually, along with Kevin McCurley and a few others. He was in it from the beginning, the founder of many older and more famous morphs and many different combos. But what's even more crazy is that he evolved beyond that and created the Reptarium as a place where you can go. And I can't explain how it's so much better than a zoo, and I love zoos, but you really can't hold animals. But here, there is a team of people that are going to put almost every single reptile in that place in your hands, whether it be a gigantic reticulated python, or a Burmese python, or a king snake, or a carpet python, literal alligators. And now, sadly, he didn't get to see the legacy come to its fruition, but in a way, it's like Moses overlooking the promised land before he passed away. The gigantic aquarium combined with reptiles, it's incredible, and you can go and watch the creation of this magical place. To this day, his family and his extended family at the Reptarium are uploading all the time. Obviously, there's a bit of a hole left by Brian's absence. That is, of course, you know, understandably difficult to fill, but they have been working forward. And of course, you can always go back and watch all of the wealth of knowledge and entertainment, the vlogs and everything that he used to do all the time. Just the way that Brian presented was just so down to earth. Like I said with SnakeDiscovery, there were so many people brought into this from Brian. And if they weren't, the person who did bring you into this hobby was probably influenced in some way by Brian. There's so much entertaining content that you can go back and watch this day that's so rich and fulfilling. He has literally over 3,000 videos on YouTube. Just a wild dedication that goes beyond just the reptiles, it goes for the whole community. And how he was just so incredibly personal. Moving along to the Mr. Roger of reptiles, and that would be ClintsReptiles. Clint is a literal scientist and a wonderful presenter who, like I said, I can only compare to Mr. Rogers. That's the sort of personality that he exudes, of a very, very kind person and educator. I would say, in my opinion, what got him most popular originally were his ranking videos. He would create these series called The Best Pet. So our bull python's the best pet snake, our bearded dragon's the best pet lizard. And when I first got into this, I kind of even thought about doing bearded dragons, and then I kind of determined that lizards are a little more. Ironically, now I am back into starting lizards. Maybe that'll be a video for another time, albeit on a very small level. But I learned a lot about bearded dragons at the time, and even though it was I think a 6-month-old, maybe a year-old video at the time, I asked a question on there, and Clint responded and gave me advice on the bearded dragon. But his presentation style and how that ranking system worked, and why I like it so much, because it's not really focused on the overall number. The overall number is important, but these individual categories are what is actually most important, because each individual category might matter way more to you. Cost may mean nothing to you. You might be able to afford whatever the heck you want, and maybe you can't, so therefore it's really important to you. These things change and matter. Maybe it doesn't matter if it's handleable. Maybe you just want something that looks cool as heck, but it's not super duper handleable. It's kind of mean. Maybe that matters a lot to you. Maybe you really want hands-on experience with something. I'm kind of that way. I really like handling things. I definitely appreciate the way that he always did this. And of course, there are plenty of other videos on there. Recently, he's been doing certain things like reacting to certain animal TikToks as a biologist, and reaction videos are always funny to me because it all relies on the personality of the person doing it. And he's got a great personality and it's funny. He does these entertaining videos like these reviews of these books of animals, of who would win in a battle, and kind of gives his take on it. They're very entertaining because the book is often very wrong. I highly recommend watching Clint, no matter what kind of animals you're into. He's very, very entertaining, and there's something for everybody on his channel. Of course, from an educational standpoint, he is second to none. I swear there's like nothing that he doesn't know. It's incredible. The sorts of things that he can teach you about something as different as an insect to as crazy as the original dinosaurs, which you'll notice his most recent video is Turkey, the best pet dinosaur. And that's because birds are dinosaurs. And if you want more evidence on that, well, go watch Clint. And finally would be kind of a mail-in one. They're not a YouTuber, sadly, because I feel like they would be if they were still with us today, and that would be Steve Irwin. Yes, everyone is inspired by Steve Irwin. It's a very easy thing to say. Sorry, I'm also inspired by Steve Irwin because I watched him before I even left my parents' house. I watched Steve Irwin for a long, long time. Steve Irwin was the craziest, cool dude. He was just so absorbed with his passion about animals that it just exuded from him. There's nobody who had such an incredible, unique personality as him. He's always smiling. That's how I always remember him. There's actually only one time I kind of remember him not smiling, and that's because I think he was afraid that people would get afraid. It was on some sort of talk show, and I remember his snake around his neck, and it kind of just latched onto his neck. He just kept talking, and then eventually he's like, hey, I think we're gonna need to, can we actually cut here? Yeah, it kind of bit me. And he's just cool as a cucumber, calm. I think that the only thing going through his mind right there was, I hope people aren't afraid of this animal now. Obviously, the crocodile hunter was known for wrangling crocodiles and showing them off and everything like that. And I kind of remember him for more than just that. I remember him for all the snakes and the other animals that he would do, and just every single little moment that he had. There's a video of two kookaburras, the laughing bird. I'm just driving around in the Australian zoo and them fighting each other and picking them up and just yelling at them to stop, and they listen to him. He's just an incredibly fun personality. I mean, I think you can even see just my remembrance of these moments, just how incredibly incredibly inspirational he was for so many people, and just the love of animals, full stop. Not breeding, not anything like that, just love of animals. There is a whole bunch of influencers beyond what I've talked about here that have inspired me, whether it's Brian Cusco or Catalia. There's a whole bunch of people that I have watched, and I recommend all of the people who I've mentioned even just now. They're incredibly inspirational in many different ways. If you liked this video, you can actually check out some of our most recent Tinley Park NARBC show footage for more inspiration of beautiful animals right here and here.